Renault Fluence 2009-2017. Hello everyone! The most popular power unit is the K4M-based engine with a capacity of 110-106 horses. It is generally reliable, although due to the peculiarities of its design, it prefers a branded or specialized service. The numbering of the cylinder comes from the flywheel and the pulley is mounted on the crankshaft without a key under tension. The gas distribution mechanism of this engine is driven by a diesel belt, which according to the regulation runs 16,000 km. This period must be strictly adhered to or the belt must be checked even earlier. There were many cases of its breakage even with small overruns. After hundreds of thousands of kilometers, it is better to update the water pump, which rarely weighs more than 100,000 to 120,000 kilometers. This structural alternative and individual acquisition costs are also at risk for this motor. The second 1.6-liter 4 with a capacity of 114 horsepower manufactured by Nissan HR60DE or HR4M according to Renault specification is also reliable. The timing drive here is carried out by a chain. Only now the chain has failed. It is prone to stretching, which leads to a shift in the timing phases, failures and poor engine traction. Usually this happens after hundreds of thousands of kilometers, somewhere around 150,000 to 180,000 kilometers. Around the same time, the phase shifter clutch and the gas distribution mechanism were ousted. One by one, the engine mounts begin to fail. After 150,000 kilometers, the engine starts to eat up oil. If its consumption exceeds 200 grams per 1,000 kilometers, you will have to change the oil scraper piston rings. The 2-liter 4 is also bought from Nissan and is generally also reliable. Although we must remember that by 150,000 kilometers, the timing chain stretches and the throttle assembly dies. The chain is subject to mandatory replacement, and the life of the throttle can be extended if it's flushed every 30,000 to 40,000 kilometers. You need to be careful on the replacement candles on this engine. The walls of the candle are very thin and compressed with excessive force, and then the coolant enters the combustion chamber and the exhaust gases enter the cooling system. Prepare big money for a new bulkhead or even an entire engine. Such cardinal costs in the transmission are not expected, however only on the condition that you have a manual gearbox. The 5-stepper is quite reliable, although by 100,000 kilometers the bearings begin to hole a little in it. According to servicemen in this stage, the bearings can work until the engine resource is exhausted. In the 6th step, sometimes the synchronizers with second and third gears were out ahead of time. The clutch serves an average of 120,000 kilometers and checked entirely basket disc and release bearing. But the infamous 4-speed DP0 transmission can pretty phrase and also the owners of use of Fluences. Even despite the fact that the box has been repeatedly upgraded over the past few years, its results can't be called outstanding. In the best size, this unit closes 220,000 to 280,000 kilometers. With such money, in case of serious malfunction in the variator, you can't get off. This continuously variable transmission is also borrowed from Nissan, and its engine life is by no means less than the automatic DP0. True, the variator doesn't like careless handling of the gas pedal, especially when it is cold, sharp starts and stops, as well as long sleeping in snow or mud. And if you still neglect the scheduled oil change intervals every 6,000 kilometers, then you will not be provided with a cheap repair of the unit. After all, even with careful handling, the service life of the variator push belt is about 200,000 kilometers, and you can pull with a replacement. A one belt will leave scuffs on the surface of the conical pulleys, and each of them costs like 2 pushing belts. At the same time, the bearings of the drive and driving shafts are usually updated, as well as stepper motors that change the gear ratios of the variator. But you definitely won't have to spend a lot of money on the Fluence suspension. Firstly, its design is as simple as an iron. In front of the McPherson strut behind the twisting beam. Secondly, most charge parts have a fairly decent service life. Thirdly, for our conditions, the suspension of the saddle is adapted. That is reinforced and the ground clearance is increased from 125 to 165 mm. Only stabilizers, strut and bushing are considered consumables, which can within 30,000 to 6,000 km and at the same time they cost a penny. Shock absorbers run an average of 80,000 km. The rest of the details easily pass over 100,000 km. True, not everyone will be satisfied with the fact that the ball bearings are assembled with levers, and the rear wheel bearings are integral with the hubs. However, the service life of ball and bearings is quite decent. Some drivers change these parts for 120,000 to 150,000 km. Approximately the same results on the steering deck. When replacement eater, you can save money if you hand it over in exchange for a restored one for 20,000 to 15,000 rubles. The body also has to be restored over time, since the paintwork is weak and chips appear quite quickly. Although one day law of varnish, rust doesn't appear for a very long time. The first element of the body on which red dots remain are the hood, wheel arch and seals. The chrome-plated details of the external decor also get it. After the second winter, the coating of these elements becomes cloudy and begins to peel off. If you bought a used Fluence without anti-corrosion treatment, it is better to do it. It certainly won't be redundant. Of the body source, we note sagging door hinges, a weak wiper trapose, and a braking mechanism for electric windows. Often the windshield bars as a rule from temperature change, therefore in third floors it is not recommended to turn on the windshield heating until the interior warms up a little. Only then we would like the door to be out. As soon as the sashes began to open with a specific creak and rattle, it was time to replace them. Many owners also complain about hourly hot door seals, because of which the paint in the opening is erased to metal and the tightness is broken. In the cabin hours, the steering wheel sheath and the leather upholstery quickly lose lose their glows. The limit switch of the door and trunk locks as well as the mass airflow and idle sensor fail. Often you have to change the starter. It is located too low and quickly becomes unusable from Flying George and moisture. Although now there are many campaigns involved in the restoration of these notes. Nevertheless, despite some problems with the boxes, we will not dissuade you from buying a used Fluence. After all, the variety note is 250,000 or more, and the automatic is repaired very inexpensively, and the rest of the Fluence is doing well. If you have had such a model, share information about what and how it breaks in the comments.